Florida State's quarterback is now signed, sealed, and delivered to Florida State. Brock Glenn, a 3-star on-3 consensus quarterback, and a get from Ohio State, Michael, is now in the fold for FSU. How important was it for the Noles to get a high school quarterback in the 2023 class in the form of Brock Glenn?
Yeah, I think it was a big deal because one that you made you wonder if, like, okay, when are they going to get a quarterback? It's like after they lost Chris Parson, it was kind of like they're in that danger zone territory of you getting a quarterback, or it's going to be late in the season if you get one, because usually you see quarterbacks commit in the summer and then you're done. It's like usually they're just focused on the season. And but certainly, I mean, the funny, ironic thing is they got the guy they originally targeted as their top guy, from the start, and flipped him from Ohio State. I think he's from Memphis, so he knew all the staff, the support staff, when Mike was there. So he knew a lot about all these guys. Great relationship with Tony Tokarts and certainly Mike Norvell. And I think this is one where people ask me certain recruits that the season impacts. This was one. Like, if you don't have this season like this, I'm not sure you get him off that Ohio State, pledge during the season. And FSU did that. Certainly, they won consistently. I got a 9-3 record going to a bowl game. So I think that season really catapulted them where now there was no more holding restraints of why you shouldn't go to FSU. Everything seemed perfect. Ohio State's got a lot of guys. Florida State certainly had a need at a quarterback. Certainly strong arm guy that can and run. Brock even told me that. It's like, hey, I like to run. I like to take off. It's kind of some of the things I like to do as far as doing it. I don't think you're going to see a lot of that with FSU as far as running, but he's not going to be confused with Jordan Travis. But he's certainly effective running, and it's really tough to bring down, as people could see in the clips. I mean, it's tough to bring down. He's not easy, and certainly sheds off blocks really well. But I think his biggest attribute is that arm talent, man. When you get him in the pocket, he sees the field so well, and just the ball location he puts on it is certainly exceptional. And what really grabbed the coach's attention from the start with Tony Tokarts, Mike Norvell, all the support staff, the offensive analysts, I think they just really fell in love with just everything this kid can do as far as in that pocket. He's a pure passer guy. Certainly wants to pass first and just can make every throw that you're looking for. And that's what they're looking for. Now he's going to take some time to develop, and certainly a guy that you probably a year or two, you'll seriously look at it. But I think he's a guy that certainly is going, it improves your quarterback room a lot. Certainly going to be a threat to certainly compete for that job, down the line. Certainly not this year because Jordan Travis is there, but down the line in the following years, I think he's going to be a guy to, certainly watch and go out there and, be a playmaker. And, and you look at just the arm strength, his feel. And the thing I like about him, and I've said this many times, is the way he manipulates the pocket. Like, he doesn't just drop back, pass it. He manipulates things, switches to the side, shifts a little bit to the left, shifts a little to the right, steps up forward. He always knows when to manipulate the pocket. And Brock's always told me, it's like, yeah, that's kind of my thing, Mike. I mean, that's kind of what I've really done well, that I feel is one of my biggest strengths. So I think that's the thing people should notice about him, is just the way he manipulates that pocket and finds the guy.
Yeah, that's not, you talk about some guys like Lucas Simmons or some of the other guys that Florida State was in on heading into signing day, Michael, and you can't teach size. You can't teach pocket presence either. The dynamics in the pocket of when to climb, when to slide. And there's so many clips here that are showing just that. The thing that always impresses me about young quarterbacks is if they're flushed and off their platform, so to speak, do they keep their eyes down the field? Are they keeping their eyes down the field for a passing play and not always just looking to scramble and run? And this kid does that. It's really actually quite impressive. Even though he's a little bit smaller, that attribute is usually something you see in a veteran type player, not necessarily a high school type player. Let me ask you this, though, about the recruiting process and on the offensive side of the ball. Tony Tokarz is now completing his first year as an on-field coach. What's he like as a recruiter, Michael, and compared to, say, Coach Norvell, who signs off especially so on each recruit, but offensive recruits? What's Tony Tokarz been like on the trail?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you can't really compare anybody to Norvell, because Norvell is like energy is to another stratosphere for anybody. I think Tony's more, he's very good with relationships. He's very good at connecting with players. His youth really helps him. Brock even mentioned that, just the way they talk, and very a personable guy, very, very easy to connect with. Doesn't matter who you are or what your personality is, he can adjust to that, whether you're a quiet guy or you kind of talk a lot. He just seems to connect with different personalities, and I think his ability to connect in relationships is certainly one thing. And Brock told me just this guy is just his knowledge of just X's and O's, football acronym, what a quarterback's supposed to know, what the quarterbacks they're supposed to look for, even tips that Brock told me that he gave them just really helped during the season. I think he is a very sharp guy when it comes to X's and O's and football knowledge. But I think his best attribute is just for recruiting is just the way he's able to connect with guys because of both his youth, but also just he tries to keep it. And this is a lot of the coaches on FSU. They kind of keep it more direct off football and connect with players in a personal way that. Because I'm sure a lot of people told Brock like, "Hey, you're great, you're awesome," but there has to be a personal connection for a quarterback, even more so. I think a quarterback wants to know like, "Hey, can I trust you?" Isn't going to be like, "Oh, you're just calling plays." So I think that's what separated Tony through the process of just how personally connected Brock was with him throughout the whole process, and he's done that with a lot of guys. So I think his recruiting, it's not sexy like Atkins or a few other guys, but I think it's very effective. He's very good with relationships, and I think that's the way Tony recruits, and he's only going to get better. This is only his first full season doing this, but I think he's very good. Just his connectability to recruits.
It's clear that Brock Glenn is not afraid to run. You're correct, Mike. He won't be confused with Jordan Travis, but yet another player for Florida State to help develop and sharpen. Now, this time at the quarterback position, FSU gets its quarterback in the 2023 class. He's Michael Langston, the senior recruiting analyst for Warchant.com. My name is Tom Lang, and we've got you posted all day long with Michael, myself, Aslan Hajavandi, and more here on Warchant TV. Hit the like button underneath the video, subscribe to Warchant TV, and head to our next video here on the best channel for Seminole sports coverage and recruiting coverage, Warchant TV.